Hey, Sophomore here. XP Pen recently sent me one of their Artist Pro 15.6 tablets, and I decided to make a quick review to hopefully answer a lot of questions about the device. I'm going to abbreviate the tablet as AP for the rest of the review. Let's start with the look and feel of the AP. Dimensions-wise, the Artist Pro 15.6 is comparable in thickness to cintiq Pro 16 or Intuos 4 and slightly larger than cintiq Pro 16. It feels a little bit more plasticky than Pro 16, but it also generates less heat. At less than 3 times the cost of the cintiq Pro 16 and 300 shekels less than the cintiq 16 on Amazon though, I can't really complain. The tablet itself has no flex from no use either. I don't use hotkeys, but the buttons are comparable to buttons on the Intuos Pro. The AP ships with a matte screen protector pre-applied, which gives the tablet some grip as you draw on it. I haven't noticed any scratches forming on it from using it for a couple of days, but I imagine it's easy enough to replace the screen protector if you do get some scratches. Compared to the cintiq Pro 16, the AP has one less USB-C cable on a tablet, which personally makes it a lot more comfortable to use on your lap. This is how I use the AP most of the time. The tablet doesn't have any built-in stands, but the box contains a plastic stand that allows the tablet to be raised 60 degrees. I didn't spend a lot of time using it, but I don't really see this design causing any issues. The AP uses a 1080p IPS screen, which to me is adequate for the size and cost. My AP applied with settings that crushed all the light tones for some reason, but it was easy enough to fix using the drivers. After calibration, colors look accurate. Viewing angles are great as expected of an IPS display, but the matte coating does lower contrast a little bit. This doesn't bother me, since I'd rather take a matte drawing surface with less contrast over a glossy one that attracts fingerprints. The stylus has 2 side buttons and no eraser. The missing eraser isn't a huge deal to me since I never used the one on my Wacom, but the drawing tip does require a noticeably higher activation force to register a click. Wacom's activation force is much lower, which makes it a little easier to make really thinner light lines. The higher activation force on the AP is my biggest gripe about the tablet. The stylus also doesn't need a battery though, which is nice. XP Pen's drivers are fine. Drivers are the first thing I worry about when using a non-Wacom tablet since they've been doing it for the longest. And the AP drivers do everything I need it to, like application-specific hotkeys and the ability to use WinTab instead of Windows Ink. I did run into an issue with trying to use WinTab in Photoshop, however. The reason why a lot of artists, myself included, at least the ones that use Windows, prefer WinTab over the default Windows Ink implementation is because Windows Ink tries to improve pen usability in Windows at the expense of introducing latency when you draw. This latency makes drawing feel sluggish, so I usually turn it off and use a workaround in Photoshop to force Photoshop to use WinTab. For some reason, however, having both Wacom and XP Pen drivers installed, the workaround didn't work. I was able to remove the latency with Windows Ink unchecked, but I lost all pressure sensitivity in Photoshop. Frustrating. To fix this, I had to uninstall both Wacom and XP Pen drivers, restart the computer, install the XP Pen drivers, then, while Photoshop is closed, go to Photoshop App Data folder, open this file, set this field to 0, save the file, and then open Photoshop in that particular order. For some reason, Photoshop will keep trying to set this value in PS user config to 1 as long as Wacom tablet drivers are installed, or something like that. Following those steps exactly, everything worked fine. This is annoying, but to be fair, this is Adobe's fault for not including a checkbox for these tablet modes in settings somewhere like Clip Studio Paint, and Microsoft's fault for making Windows Ink really laggy when you draw. So what are my final thoughts about the tablet? The AP gets a solid recommend for me. At its current price of $400 on Amazon, no doubt in response to the release of Wacom's cintiq 16 soon after the AP's release, it destroys Wacom's value-oriented cintiq 16 in a cost-to-value contest. The only thing that keeps me from carrying this in my bag daily is the stylus. If XP Pen developed a stylus with more sensitive activation force, the AP would basically be perfect.